Yeah. You can't tell me if I'm right, cause you can't tell me if I'm wrong. Been struggling all my life, my family barely holding on. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy J Hova vs SMG, and we back with another video. First, I gotta ask y'all a question. Are you exhausted? Like, are you tired? Like, you just can't find enough time in the day to get things done, to be there with family, to be there with friends, and on top of that, every time you come home, you just want to get in your bed and cry. So, if that sounds like you, then I got a video for you today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to break this video up into two parts. So the first part, I'm going to do the normal reaction. I want to get y'all something from, it's a TED Talk video that was amazing. And then the second part, we're going to go in there and we're going to actually use a tool to help y'all with finding work-life balance. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
What I thought I would do is I would start with a simple request. I'd like all of you to pause for a moment, you wretched weaklings, and take stock of your miserable existence. Now, that was the advice that St. Benedict gave his rather startled followers in the 5th century. And it was the advice that I decided to follow myself when I turned 40. Up until that moment, I had been that classic corporate warrior. I was eating too much, I was drinking too much, I was working too hard, and I was neglecting the family. And I decided that I would try and turn my life around. In particular, I decided I would try to address the thorny issue of work-life balance. So I stepped back from the workforce, and I spent a year at home with my wife and 4 young children. But all I learned about work-life balance from that year was that I found it quite easy to balance work and life when I didn't have any work. Not a very useful skill, especially when the money runs out. So I went back to work, and I've spent the 7 years since struggling with, studying, and writing about work-life balance. I have 4 observations I'd like to share with you today. The first is, if society is to make any progress on this issue, we need an honest debate. But the trouble is, so many people talk so much rubbish about work-life balance. All the discussions about flexi time or dress-down Fridays or paternity leave only serve to mask the core issue, which is that certain job and career choices are fundamentally incompatible with being meaningfully engaged on a day-to-day basis with a young family. Now, the first step in solving any problem is acknowledging the reality of the situation you're in. And the reality of the society that we're in is there are thousands and thousands of people out there leading lives of quiet, screaming desperation, where they work long, hard hours at jobs they hate to enable them to buy things they don't need to impress people they don't like. And it's my contention that going to work on a Friday in jeans and t-shirt isn't really getting to the nub of the issue. The second observation I'd like to make is we need to face the truth that governments and corporations aren't going to solve this issue for us. We should stop looking outside. It's up to us as individuals to take control and responsibility for the type of lives that we want to lead. If you don't design your life, someone else will design it for you, and you may just not like their idea of balance. It's particularly important, this isn't on the World Wide Web, is it? I'm about to get fired. It's particularly important that you never put the quality of your life in the hands of a commercial corporation. Now, I'm not talking here just about the bad companies, the abattoirs of the human soul, as I call them. I'm talking about all companies, because commercial companies are inherently designed to get as much out of you as they can get away with. It's in their nature, it's in their DNA, it's what they do. Even the good, well-intentioned companies. On the one hand, putting childcare facilities in the workplace is wonderful and enlightened. On the other hand, it's a nightmare that just means you spend more time at the bloody office. We have to be responsible for setting and enforcing the boundaries that we want in our life. The third observation is we have to be careful with the time frame that we choose upon which to judge our balance. Before I went back to work, after my year at home, I sat down and I wrote out a detailed, step-by-step description of the ideal balanced day that I aspired to. And it went like this. Wake up well rested after a good night's sleep. Have sex. Walk the dog. Have breakfast with my wife and children. Have sex again. Drive the kids to school on the way to the office. Do 3 hours work. Play sport with a friend at lunchtime. Do another 3 hours work. Meet some mates in the pub for an early evening drink. Drive home for dinner with my wife and kids. Meditate for half an hour. Have sex. Walk the dog. Have sex again. Go to bed. How often do you think I had that day? We need to be realistic. You can't do it all in one day. We need to elongate the time frame upon which we judge the balance in our life. But we need to elongate it without falling into the trap of the I'll have a life when I retire. When my kids have left home, when my wife has divorced me, my health is failing, I've got no mates or interests left. A day is too short, after I retire is too long. There's got to be a middle way. A fourth observation, we need to approach balance in a balanced way. A friend came to see me last year, and she doesn't mind me telling this story. A friend came to see me last year and said, Nigel, I've read your book and I realised that my life is completely out of balance. It's totally dominated by work. I work 10 hours a day, I commute 2 hours a day. All my relationships have failed. There's nothing in my life apart from my work. So I've decided to get a grip and sort it out. So I've joined a gym. Now, I don't mean to mock, but being a fit 10-hour-a-day office rat isn't more balanced, it's more fit. Lovely, though physical exercise may be, there are other parts to life. There's the intellectual side, there's the emotional side, there's the spiritual side. And to be balanced, I believe we have to attend to all of those areas, not just do 50 stomach crunches.
I gotta stop it, man. This video is so good. This video is amazing, but I gotta stop it, right? If you want to go check it out, it's How to Make Work-Life Balance Work by Nigel Marsh. It's on the TEDx website. But I wanted to touch on a few things, right? So, what is work-life balance? That just means exactly what it says. It's balancing everything that comes to you during your day or your week or your month or your year. It was an old saying about balancing your checkbook. The first thing you need to know is can't nobody balance it for you. Not your job, not your husband, not your wife, not your mom, not your dad. If you leave your life up to somebody else to balance it, 9 times out of 10, like he said, it's going to be unbalanced. So we got to get a hold and we got to be on track and we got to be on top of how we want our life to go. Right? That's the first thing you need to know. It's all on you. Stop giving up your time to the people and all the crazy things that pop up throughout the day. Hey, man, we're going over here to see what's the name? Or, hey, you want to come help me do this? Or, hey, you want to do that? I don't know. Let me check my schedule and I'll get back to you. And in order to say that, you have to have a schedule. Me personally, I write down what I want to do on my off days. I just give a brief 5 to 10 things that I would like to accomplish on my off days. I'm off 3 days out the week. I put them all down. I try to list them by priority to me, and I try to get as much done as possible. That way I feel like, hey, when I'm at work, I'm at work. When I'm at home, I'm at home. I'm trying to balance. Like, that's what I mean by balance. You got to balance these things. I don't hit everything. I don't hit everything on my list. I probably would never hit everything on my list. I never would be a full-time husband, a full-time student of God, a full-time YouTuber, a full-time truck driver, a full-time rapper, I can't do all those things. I just try to get as much done in each particular area as possible. And that's how I'm finding balance, right? And one thing that you have to get out of your head right now is things are always going to change. Things are always going to change, and you're going to always have to put them back into their place. Like some days you might have to go to work more, or it's like, you know what I'm saying? 6 months, you might have to, your job might be picking up, and you might be at work this much, and your family life might have to go down a little bit. But then when you're able to slow down at your job, you're able to pick up over here on your family side. And then y'all ain't been to church in 7 years. Like you got to go to church. You got to throw that in there. It's all about finding what works for you and what life you want to live. And you don't know these things because you don't sit down and take the time to figure it out. It's always been whatever is handed to me, I'm going to deal with it. No, you got to create your life. You got to create the life that you want. And this is exactly how you do it. You write it down on paper and stick to it and defend it. Defend it. No, I can't go to the movies. Yeah, I want to go to the movies, but I told myself this is my workout time. I don't have much time to work out, so I gotta go at this specific time. This is my recording time. This is my work time. This is my recreation time. This is my sex time. You gotta balance that on your own. Also, when he said approach balance in a balanced way, that don't mean uproot everything. like he said, like she worked 10 hours a day and she want to be like, oh, I want to be more fit, so you know what, I'm gonna throw the gym in there too. Like, no, you want to get to a place financially where you can work 8 hours a day. Use the other 2 that you was working for something as like the gym, or you wanna approach it level-headed and in a balanced way, understanding that you're not gonna get everything balanced perfectly in one day. It might take you a year to find you a ratio of work, husband duty, church, community, family, and friends. It might take you a year of finding out what works best for you, but you can't just rush in there and just uproot everything and try to spite your nose to cut your face or something like that. Cut your nose to spite your face, or like, you can't do that. You gotta come into these things understanding that it's never gonna be perfect. We just trying to get better and better each day. I don't want to make this video too long. Like I said, I got another video coming with an actual tool to help you balance your life. If that's something that you interested in, it's gonna be up somewhere around here. It's gonna be part 2 to this video. I hope I helped y'all out here today. Like I said, please go watch this video. It's amazing. Once again, I'm your boy Hova Reacts, and I'm out.